Hey, what's up guys, it's ElasticSpyder here, and in today's video, well, it's going to be a carrier game, as you can kind of see here. It's a little bit interesting, but I thought I'd bring you guys a carrier game nonetheless, and unfortunately, since Wargaming hasn't fixed any of their replays, well, I had to record this one live, so you guys could at least see my carrier movements. The downside to that is, well, got no sound, so you're gonna have to listen to my voice a little bit here. It's not the worst thing, I hope, but regardless, let's get into the gameplay. So I'm playing in my tier 9 Taiho, and the first thing every time I play in my Taiho, or basically any carriers, I take out my torpedo bombers first, and I put them out first just so that I can if there is a DD that gets a little bit aggressive and tries to go into the cap, I can strike him. And since my torpedo bombers, at least for the Taiho, load pretty quickly, and I've got 3 of them, I can pretty effectively counter any destroyer, granted if they don't have defensive fire. However, if they do have defensive fire, then that complicates things, or if people like this, who launch their fighters first, that also counters my strike pretty quickly here. So what I'm going to do is, well, I didn't find any DDs in B, so I'm going to pull all my planes back and kind of reevaluate my situation. Now here I just want to get a strike off with my torpedo bombers. I'm not worrying about my dive bombers yet, and this is partly due to somewhat of a lack of being able to kind of, I guess, micromanage all my planes at this moment. But I was able to get 2 very nice torpedo hits and a third one to kill that Kitakaze in smoke. So that's him dead. A very nice drop, at least on my part. A lot of guesswork there too to actually fully delete that tier 9 Japanese destroyer. So now that I've gotten that guy out of the game, now I can kind of refocus my efforts and start looking for the enemy's strike group. Now Colorado's coming in. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to pull my strafe off in time, and they're a little bit behind, but I'm going to clip a few torpedo bombers and fortunately grab some of those, and then restrafe to take out his pretty much entire, his entire what are they called? Dive bomber. There we go. Dive bomber squadron, and take out most of his torpedo bomber squadron as well. And then, well, I'm out of ammo, so I'm going to restrafe. And I had planned on being able to restrafe out. That would be the ideal thing here. Unfortunately, well, that's not going to happen. I'm going to lose those fighters. And, well, I decide to strafe out, and then as soon as he does that, he shoots one of my planes down. So, again, bit of a lack of, I don't know if I want to say intelligence there or whatnot, but just, I guess more bad luck in that case. So in this situation, well, we've completely deleted their C-Force, and whoever didn't get deleted started getting pushed back. And one big thing is, for the most part, I've been kind of slow playing it, but I see that my team is full on C, so now I have to start pushing pretty hard, going full steam. Making sure you're always in good position to counter their ships is, of course, important, and making sure you don't die is also very important as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and bait defensive fire, and hopefully I get a fire here. Once the defensive fire is down, so if he doesn't use it, okay, so he does use it, so I'm going to pull it back. So about 30 seconds, so 15 is when I should be able to strike, no problem. So here, what I want to do is I want to kind of let him burn out. Now, ideally, I probably should be taking my torpedo bombers back up here and striking him, but nonetheless, I think going after these battleships is not a bad idea also. So time's up. Actually, his defensive fire is still going, and then it just goes down there. And so I get a nice drop off, get one fire, and he's going to let that burn a little bit, and just kidding, he puts it out right away. So now I just have to wait a little bit, and now bring in my second squadron. Now I should be more on top of it, on top of bringing my torpedo bombers in, or my second dive bomber in, because now likely that plane is going to get me, and it's going to do exactly that, and well, we're gonna get no hits. So right there, what I could have done better is kept my squadron 7, my other dive bomber squadron, in the vicinity, kind of still attracting that guy, that catapult fighter, and at the same time still and also come in quicker with my my other dive bomber squadron, my squadron 8, because had I done that a little bit cleaner, and again, that was more of my fault not being able to micromanage properly. Well, I wasn't able to get a nice drop off. But a couple nice strafes here with my one fighter, and ultimately, carrier gameplay does kind of come down to good strafes. Especially when you are low on fighters. And here again, I'm going to strafe out. Even though I've got one fighter, I'm still going to be able to shoot down a few planes here and there. And then I'm out of ammo, so I'm just going to return that guy. And since I'm fighting over at Neptune, well, he should give me enough AA support where I don't have to worry about, fighting over him. Or, so in this case, this is probably a very beneficial thing. However, Neptune AA, if you don't really spec into it, it's not very good. So at the end of the day, it really ended up not being a very good drop. Now here I have to be careful because this Iowa is likely to turn out. So I should have brought my planes more up here to start with, and that way I would be dropping like this when he's pretty much full broadside, as opposed to now he's not so much broadside. However, I've got so many torpedo bombers and his AA didn't kick in nearly enough that I just delete him, because that is something that Taihos are great at doing in with their torpedo bombers. And just a little side note, if you are able to, your planes actually do like leave faster if after you manual drop, you like right when the thing turns yellow, put your click on another part of the map, and basically just try and get them out as fast as possible. So there, what I tried to do was I tried to sacrifice my one, like I only had one torpedo bomber left in Squadron 5, so I tried to bait that guy into taking him over my Squadron 6 that had 2 planes, so I could, at least have one extra torpedo bomber plane. But unfortunately, did not go as planned, and I ended up losing an additional 2 planes, which is not ideal. Now, I'm kind of waiting for my fighters to come back up. I need to get my dive bombers in action. They've kind of been holding stagnant. That North Carolina is too far away, and the carrier is probably too close to him with his fighters, and it's a long way to go for my fighters and my dive bombers. So I'm going to recycle them and put them right on top of this Colorado and basically try and kill him. Again, there's 2 ways you can look at this. You can either go one at a time, which I think I accidentally did here, which is fine, but sometimes with heavier AA ships, you want to do them both at the same time, so you get the most damage out that you can. Alternatively, the other option is to go one by one and just bait fires, or bait damage controls and get fires, that sort of thing. So I'm going to come in with my second bomber squadron, try and distribute the fires a little bit more evenly, and try and get a more perfect drop. If I can, realign my manual drop, and then, well, snipe that one fire and 3 bomb hits on that Richelieu, and we'll just have to wait and see. So he's burning, but you see there, I was kind of baiting with my fighters a little bit, and he was forced to push back quite a bit, actually, his fighters, because he doesn't want to fight over a Seattle or a Chapayev. Fortunately, though, that means that since his fighters are temporarily pushed back, I can get a nice drop-off with Squadron 5 and Squadron 4. I didn't drop yet. And I should have had these guys come out more. That's alright, though. I completely screwed up the drop on Squadron 4. That's okay, though. I still have a lot of reserves left, and now I'm going to strafe. I don't care about that one fighter. And, well, I rack up 9 fighters, and, well, now he just lost a good amount of his fighters. Even if he engages in a fighter battle now, well, he is pretty toast, even over the Richelieu. So Chapayev's in trouble. AP bombs probably will hurt him quite pretty bad. I'm going to strafe again, take out a few torpedo bomber squadrons. Should have done that a little bit earlier. That's okay, though. It looks like Chapayev defensive fire was up, or maybe just defensive fire was up in general. Now I'm out of, well, ammo, so I have to go back and reload. So now I'm going to be striking this York because he is the next biggest problem. I'm hoping my team can kill the Richelieu, and there we go. The Shores ends up killing him, but the next step is the York. So I'm going to try and obviously you always want to bait. You want to bait defensive fire, and you want to strike first with your dive bombers. The reason being is floodings last a lot longer, and they tend to cripple a ship more than a fire would. Granted, you oof, this is going to be a nice drop. Oh, just barely missed that tail end torpedo. And here I think I'm going to drop just one, it looks like. Someone might actually get the kill. Yeah, I think at this, yeah, this Shores has got the kill. There's no point in me doing a half-ass drop, especially when defensive fire is up. No real point there. Then here, now I think I'm going to go after this North Carolina. Now, I've got 43 planes shot down at this point, only 93k damage, so you would say, like, why, Spider, why are you showcasing this replay? Well, you guys have to remember that Taiho carriers are, in general, they're not all about damage. Now, that's one significant part, but it's also all about supporting your team. And I was supporting my team quite heavily, in my opinion, through getting a lot of plane kills. Now, I pretty much suffered a lot of losses in my plane kills, and having to go after his planes, but I'm in a Taiho. I've opted for the more strike-oriented build, so that means I don't get as many fighters. But I've pretty incapacitated incapacitated all of his fighters, and for the most part, his strike group as well. So, with that being said, I think that's another important role that's typically overlooked a lot of the times in carrier gameplay. So I'm going to do another strike on this North Carolina, or I'm going to do a strike in this North Carolina, and then I'm also going to kind of briefly talk about the new upcoming changes that there are to CV. Now, do I like the upcoming changes to CV? Yeah, kind of. I think they're interesting. It adds a different aspect, but at the same time, I've kind of grown to love this kind of gameplay, this top-down view, where it's kind of become like it's kind of part. It feels part of me now. The old method of carrier gameplay. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I like what I see so far. I still have a lot of questions, and I know it's not even close to being finished, but there's still so much left to be answered for me that I'm not sure how I feel at the moment about all of the carrier changes. But I will say that now that I'm playing a lot more carriers and I'm playing a lot more high tier carriers, well, I am enjoying it. I think at the end of the day, I think I will miss the this old method quite a bit. So one sneaky little tactic that I learned from playing competitive is that if you actually drop your torpedo bombers, or I'm sorry, you drop your dive bombers, you will actually gain a very nice speed boost, and this allows you to basically, well, you're going to be able to outrun the enemy's fighters because the enemy fighters are much slower than a dive bomber after you have after you've dropped their load. So again, I'm keeping up with my team here, and also going to constantly spot this Essex. Now, at any point, if I see that this Essex is, trying to chase my fighters like he is doing now, I'm going to be sure to keep my bombers going. And you can see there he's getting baited pretty hard, trying to chase my fighters, chase my dive bombers. I don't think he knows that I actually. These guys are empty, but now you can see both fighters are chasing my one dive bomber. And then I'm going to go spot him with the other. And then, in the meantime, if I had gotten my strike off faster and I've been paying more attention, then I could actually be striking this Essex. And that's kind of what I'm going to be doing here. And then now, if you also notice that I'm paying very good attention to where his fighters are coming. So I see one fighter go back, so I suspect that he's going to be trying to come back and save his bacon. But I'm still going to get a nice fire, but I think he's going to DCP that pretty quickly here. Oh, he's going to let it burn for a bit. But yeah, so if you look at the bottom right screen, like, this guy is just getting baited all the way. So now his fighter's in A1. It's going to take him a solid 30 seconds to actually get his fighter back to where my torpedo bombers are coming in from. And, well, unfortunately, he's finally caught up to them because I didn't set waypoints, and that's something you should probably do, is set waypoints. But right now, I'm trying to keep his fighters as far away as possible from my strike group. And then the other thing, too, is now that I know my Squad 7 is compromised, now I'm going to use Squadron 8 to be the bait while I strike with this. Unfortunately, since he's going to be on the border, and I can't, like, perfectly manual drop, I have to first manual drop and then rotate it. This also means that I can't get a little bit closer with my drop, so I have to drop from far away. And once I've planted my drop, well, there's not much I can do, and then by the time I start realizing that he's reversing like right now, it's just too late. So unfortunately, all those torpedo bombers are going to miss. But that's going to pretty much end the replay there. So that Essex is going to die. We're going to win the game. So yeah, let's check out the post-battle results. Alright, so looking at the post-battle results, we are looking at 133k, not too bad. Confederate Devastating Strike and First Blood. We're looking at 3 ships killed, 44 planes, a lot of spots, 12 spots, pretty much spotted their whole team, and 17 torpedo hits. 2066 base XP, topped my team, and for a carrier, I think that's a good game. It's a very solid game, honestly. I know it's tier 7, and I'm kind of seal clipping a little bit, but nonetheless, I think it was still a good game, and it's been a while since I showcased a carrier gameplay. So, and then here's the damage distribution. A lot more fire damage than flood damage. That's typically how it works, but either way, I was still able to do a lot of damage, and while I did lose a lot of aircraft, I thought that I managed them throughout the battle quite well. There's only a few times where I didn't thought I managed them well. But another big thing is nearly 200k damage spotting, which is quite a good number for a tier 7, tier 9 carrier and a tier 7 matchup. And then credits and XP, not too bad. It's not anything like a Missouri or anything like that, but still, nonetheless, it's pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoyed the replay. If you did, leave a like, consider subscribing. And then I would also like to say a big shout out to all of you guys, because you guys, well, we're almost at 2,500 subscribers, and while it's kind of a small milestone, I just want to say thank you for your continued support and your continuous comments and feedback and everything else. So we really do appreciate it here at Birds at Arms World at Warships. So without further ado, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later.